Hello, my name is John Emger. Today we're going to be talking about safety culture and developing that safety culture within your workplace. We're going to be talking about the structures and the systems and the integral parts that are required to develop it and to keep it maintained. Although this is a simplified presentation, it will present to you the foundations and the building and the sustaining of an effective safety culture. Developing a safety culture certainly does have its hurdles, challenges, and bumps in the road. So we'll specifically go over the key elements of developing an effective safety culture, and the rest will be a safety culture. Well, let's start by breaking down the word itself. So we'll take a look at the word safety. If you look safety up in the dictionary, you come upon several meanings within different contexts. But in our context, we're looking at the prevention of loss. This can be preventing the loss of finances, equipment, materials, production, environment, personnel, and injury prevention, and even the loss of company image and reputation. Some would say safety expresses safety as going home in the same state as you came to work in. In other words, going home with all your fingers and toes. Personally, safety to me is quality of life. For me to get injured and not be able to participate in life's pleasures like playing golf, going out for a jog, going fishing, or just simply spending time with my family would be devastating. Alright, let's look at the word culture. When we look at culture in the dictionary, one of the definitions we come across is this. Instead of shared attitudes, values, goals, and practices that characterize an institution, organization, or group. That pretty much sums it up for culture within the workplace, and that's exactly what we're looking for. In other words, and simply put, it's the way we do things around here. As you can see from this picture, other people have different points of view of what safety is. To some, they may look at this and go, what? What's the problem? We do this every day. In essence, that is their safety culture. They don't know the difference. You'll encounter people like this, you'll encounter supervisors like this, and that is definitely one of the bumps in the road that you have to match by correcting these actions and showing them the way. But with training, hard work, education, and most of all patience, you and your company are on its way to developing and implementing an effective safety culture for you and all the people that work for you. When building the safety culture within our company, we're looking at three elements of safety culture. The foundations, if you wish. The first foundation, or the first building block we look at is management. Management and their support and their leadership towards the program and policies. If they don't have the support, if they don't have the leadership and leading by example, and the enforcement of the system itself, undoubtedly the system will fail. There's integral parts that all work together that the management must keep together, and we'll look at those parts as we get into the next slide. Secondly, as the second foundation of this block, we have employee ownership and buy-in. What I mean by this is that the employees have to take part in it. They have to believe in the system, they have to make the system work hand in hand with the management. And then thirdly, we have the system itself. The system is ever evolving, meaning that there's constantly going to be maintenance, there's constantly going to be repairs. It's going to be a living, evolving thing. As the system goes, you're going to come into little tweaks, little problems, and that system has to be maintained. And again, we'll see this in the next slide. As we mentioned in the previous slide, employees and management are the core of the engine. They are the primary gear. They are what drives, maintains, and keeps everything running smoothly within the system, ideally. As we have said, there's many parts of the system. We have training and upgrading. We have toolbox talks, investigations, communication, job hazard assessment, orientation, personal protective equipment, incident and near-miss reports, audits, awareness, emergency preparedness, enforcement, and company policy and procedures. All these work together. If one fails, or if a few fail, the system will collapse. There's no question about it. Without all these gears running in the same direction, driven by the primary gear, which is employees and management, the system will fail. So by maintaining the system, keeping it well oiled and lubricated, and everybody working smoothly together and looking out for one another, that's where the safety culture begins and exceeds.
Now, as we mentioned in the earlier slide, there's parts to the system and there's people to the system. When one part or one person in that system fails, all can collapse all around you. Now, although exaggerated, this does depict a theory of when part or one person of the system fails, catastrophe can take place, as we'll show you in the next clip.
And here on the other hand is a real life case study that I personally experienced that depicts exactly what I've been talking about. On the right hand side, what we see is basically the road to success where we're doing a system of trying to obtain a goal of no loss. We have things that we have lined up and in preparation to make things work properly in the system. For example, prepared for the job. Do we come to work on time? Are we mentally alert? Are we ready to do the task? Then we sit down, we communicate with others, and we have a toolbox talk. We let each other know what's going on and what the daily task in opposition is going to be throughout the day. We go through the job site, we inspect it, we make sure everything is good, our equipment, our people, our environment, our tools, materials, any kind of reports that are reflecting back on this that we should be aware of. We communicate with each other. If we have communication devices, are the radios ready to go? Is everybody on the same page? Has everybody been trained to do the same thing? Or aware of what their training is supposed to be for their job? The list goes on and on towards that goal. Now, what had happened here, the scenario was, this is a train that was carrying 10 or so people, and it was on a track. This was underground. There is trains coming and going on the same track, which have to switch over. Now, one train was meeting another train. One of the first things that came in is that they were not prepared. The supervisor himself came in, he was late. A few of the other people were late, they were behind schedule. So what they did, they decided not to have the toolbox talk and that they didn't know it because they thought they knew what they were doing. They decided that they did not have to do inspections. Don't worry about it, everything's going to be fine. They used it last night, so it should be fine now. Not knowing that the lights on the trains were not working. They did not read any reports regarding any of these inspections. Also, with regards to inspections, they didn't inspect their radios. Communication between the trains was not working. This led to a two-train collision that 10 people were involved in. 3 people had to go to the hospital, and one very lucky company, in a sense that nobody was killed. When we got the call on the radio, we thought for sure we were going to be picking bodies up off the tracks down there. As you can see, each system or each element is an integral part to making the system work. When you have this road to success, everybody has to be doing their job. Everybody has a task or a procedure that they must follow. When you start straying away from these procedures, then you're not staying within the safety culture that's been created. In effect, you start to create your own culture, a subculture within the workplace culture. And that is unacceptable, and then that's when things can happen. So, in summary, I hope you can understand that it's very important that you get support and buy-in from management, leading by example. That is the first failure. When you have your own supervisor saying, we don't need to do this. Okay, we can cut this corner, we don't need to do that, let's slide by here. Very, very important that everybody's on the same page and leading by example. Second of all, the buy-in and the ownership of the employees. Get the employees involved. Get them involved in creating their own atmosphere down there, creating a safety culture with the management. When you start having this, then you start having employees taking care of other employees. What I mean by this is, if we had a proper safety culture that was happening on that situation with the trains, employees would have said, no, we're not doing this because this isn't safe. No, we're not doing this because we didn't get our communication. No, we're not doing this because we didn't do our inspection. But this didn't happen. They just went along with it and all was fine with them. Thirdly, we have to develop and implement a system. You have to plan the work. There has to be a series of steps that's going to take place to make sure that this plan and the work is done properly. And fourthly, maintenance and follow-up. Every system, everything that is created that flows like this needs to be maintained and followed up on with corrective action. Sometimes you have to tweak a little here and there. So in other words, you plan the work, now work the plan. Well, thank you for sitting through this. I appreciate it, and I hope this has helped you, and all the best in your future. Thank you.